Hey everyone, I'm Andy,
And I'm Sean.
and this is the Commander's Brew.
This week, non-combat damage.
Hey everybody, thanks for checking us out here on YouTube. It's the Commander's Brew, and if you want to help us out, if you like what we're doing here, if you like these decks we're making, if you like the videos, just hit subscribe. Easy way to do it. If you want to get more involved, though, patreon.com/commandersbrew. It's a great way to do that. You can actually help directly influence and make the show, both with the donation, but also by getting involved in our Discord and actually helping us brew the decks. It's a lot of fun. Check it out. Patreon.com/commandersbrew. We got other perks out there as well, so yeah, check it out. But without further ado, we're going to start talking about this week's deck tech. Sean, this week's deck sounds interesting.
Yes. Okay, let me tell you the story of how this happened. We're talking about Grixis non-combat damage. And if you look back at older cards, like a lot of cards reference, oh, when this creature deals damage, do something. Draw a card is very common. We see that a lot. But there is a time where they made it very clear that when this creature deals combat damage, do something. They made sure it was combat damage. But if you go back far enough, they weren't really thinking about that. And there's a lot of weird creatures and a lot of interesting effects that happen when creatures damage opponents. Anytime. Combat works, but also non-combat. So our plan is to figure out ways to get different creatures to do damage outside of combat, non-combat damage. Combat damage is also allowed. We're going to let that happen if it happens. But then, yeah, so we can just get lots of great effects from just not having to deal with the combat step necessarily. And the perfect commander for that is one that takes advantage of this. It's original Nicol Bolas, one of the original Elder Dragons. 2 blue, blue, black, black, red, red, Grixis, 7/7 flying. At the beginning of your upkeep, you have to pay one of each. You have to pay blue, black, red, or sacrifice Nicol Bolas. But whenever Nicol Bolas deals damage to an opponent, I didn't say combat damage. Whenever Nicol Bolas deals damage, that player discards his or her hand. Discards their hand. That's brutal. That's the biggest one. But that just feels thematically accurate. Most of the other things in this deck don't do anything nearly as mean as that. But that is something that we are eventually building towards. So I think we're ready to set the scene and start talking about how we're going to get this rolling. We're going to talk about the vegetables of the deck. So here's our early plan. We're using the mirrors as a ramp. Iron mirror, leaden mirror, silver mirror. These are the mirror that tap for one of the appropriate color. We like the fact that they're also creatures. These creatures can deal damage, non-combat damage or combat damage. They also work that way. We're running cards like the Invisible Stalker. This one is a source of much chagrin in the limited format it came from. This is the 1 and a blue human rogue, 1/1, hexproof and unblockable. The unblockable is a nice part of that. And of course, I think rounding it out, Tetsuko Umezawa, 1 and a blue for a 1/3, and then all the creatures we control with power or toughness 1 or less can't be blocked. I know a lot of what I've mentioned was 1 power, and I know a lot of this is this doesn't imply non-combat damage. We will get to that, I promise you. This is just our early game, right? We're going to be doing a lot of that kind of stuff. We've got a lot of little creatures. There are mana rocks. They're going to help us in our future plans. But also, this will help us out. We're running all of these effects like Coastal Piracy, like Bident of Thassa, and Reconnaissance Mission. These are all 4 mana enchantments that whenever your creatures deal combat damage, so again, these are not the main stars of the deck, but this is how we're going to function. This is the engine. We're going to draw cards. So we're going to be drawing a lot of cards through our combat step so that we can do all of our fun stuff outside of our combat step. Just wanted to chime in real quick. Coastal Piracy was reprinted in Jumpstart. It's $4. $4 now. Bident of Thassa's laying low at about $1.50. and it also has an extra ability. I guess it's an artifact, so it's more destroyable. And now we have Reconnaissance Mission from Ikoria that's like a gumball. So there's really no reason Coastal Piracy should be that expensive.
Yeah, it's like strictly worse than all these other ones.
And all of them, right? Like even Reconnaissance Mission, it's got the exact same text, but it also has cycling. So like that's just better. Anyway, we're running them because that's kind of how it's going. But so we're painting a picture here where this deck is going to be built to be able to do a lot of damage in little increments all over the place. And so for that reason, Theater of Horrors works very well for us. Andy, why don't you read what this one is?
Yeah, Theater of Horrors is 1 black-red for an enchantment that says at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. During your turn, if an opponent lost life this turn, you may play cards exiled with Theater of Horrors, and then you pay 3 and a red. Theater of Horrors deals 1 damage to target opponent or planeswalker.
Yeah, it just kind of starts banking cards, and at any point, it's very easy for us to do damage to an opponent during our turn. We can just have access to all of those cards. We can play them, so lands as well. We get to play lands out of that pack as well, that little collection of cards.
It's interesting because this, you think that it, like the red ability of this is you exile them and then you get to play them until end of turn or until end of next turn. But this, they stay exiled.
Yeah, they stay under Theater of Horrors.
I didn't even consider this card because I just assumed it ended, right? But it doesn't. That's interesting.
Yeah, they're there forever, obviously, until someone deals with Theater of Horrors. Like, you know, if you've got like something wicked threats under there, it's feasible your opponents will try to destroy it. So be it. It's like, but it doesn't, like, besides the 3-mana investment, you're not like...
You don't lose anything, though, right? Like, you don't... Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't... And a card, but you don't... The things that get exiled from your library, it's like, whatever. It's like
yeah, but I may not have drawn them anyway, right? Exactly. Yeah, if you want to spend a removal on that, I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. Like, I lose flexibility later, but that's fair. Yeah. So that's kind of setting the scene of things. That's kind of where we're starting from. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the time we're going to talk about some neat moves.
Working on a neat moves.
Cool.
Right, so let's get to it, right? We want to be able to let creatures deal damage whenever we want. Andy, what's the best way to do that?
Well, the best way is Viridian Longbow. 1 mana for an artifact equipment. Equips for 3, but equipped creature has tap. This creature deals 1 damage to target creature or player. Straight up. It becomes a little pinger there. What's the name? Tim. Little Tim.
Little Tim, yeah.
The little Tim equipment. Also, we have one very similar. It's a Thornbite Staff, so it's 2 mana for this equipment. This is a tribal artifact, shaman equipment. Equipped creature has pay 2 and tap it. This creature deals 1 damage to target creature or player. And whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from play, you untap this creature. So whenever whenever a shaman creature comes into play, you may attach Thornbite Staff to it, and it equips for 4. So a little bit higher on the old equip rate there, but I mean you do get kind of this powerful ability of it untapping sometimes.
I just want to take this time to say that these are the equipments that do this. There's lots of auras that also grant this ability to creatures, but I don't love using auras in this spot because if the creature gets dealt with, the aura's gone, quote unquote, forever. These colors don't have great ways of getting auras back from the graveyard, so that's kind of unfortunate. These are equipment. You can, if the creature dies, I can put on a new creature. If the creature doesn't die, I can also move it if there's a better creature to wear the equipment. And that's probably why Thornbite Staff is very expensive. I think the fact that it untaps the creature, like, the thing that really kills is that Thornbite Staff isn't like $10+ card because of its ping ability. It's just because it untaps and it becomes a combo enabler. because the creature keeps untapping, so you can presumably keep tapping things. It's like you don't even want the Thornbite Staff ability. So like, why?
It's so funny that you have to pay that extra. Like, this isn't one of those things where you want to put it on a Death Toucher and mow their whole board down. I just want to ping you for one, right to your face.
Yeah, that's all I want to do.
The entry level lowest version of this.
Yeah. So I think we've got a good sense of things. Like, let's talk about some cards that really benefit from doing this extra damage. Andy, why don't you go first? And surprisingly, this one is from Modern Era Design. They did not specify combat damage.
That's right. This is a new-ish card, Atemsis All-Seeing. 3 blue for the M20 Legendary Sphinx. It's 4/5 with flying. You can pay 2 and a blue and tap it and draw 2 cards, then discard a card. And then whenever Atemsis All-Seeing deals damage to an opponent, you may reveal your hand. If cards with at least 6 different converted mana costs are revealed this way, that player loses the game. What a fascinating choice to make for this card, to make it so that it's just whenever it deals damage, not combat damage.
Right.
Like, they knew what they were doing here, you know?
They must have. Like, so now let's think about, right, like, this deck is poised to take advantage of all those little dorky creatures to draw us a lot of cards. So we can end up with mittfuls of cards, and then just decide, like, at instant speed, we can just be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to just ping you one time because I've got all my cards. So I want to make you lose at instant speed because I know I have enough in my hand to do it.
Wow. Yeah.
Crazy. It's neat.
It's a neat move.
Of course, we're going to run Hypnotic Spectre. Nicol Bolas is a discard commander. We are not focused on making everyone discard their hands. That's not what this deck's ultimate endgame is. But Hypnotic Spectre is unique enough in that it's a 1 black 2/2 Spectre. It's flying. And whenever it deals damage to an opponent, it doesn't say combat damage, that player discards a card at random, which is the interesting part of this. There's a lot of creatures that make people discard cards, but it's always their choice. But Hypnotic Spectre is unique in the fact that it's like, okay, random. What are you going to do? Are you going to use a removal spell on it? That's fine. I got other creatures.
Another good one is Stigma Lasher. Red for the 2/2. It's an elemental shaman, right? So that's a nice little bonus with the Thornbite Staff. It has Wither, which Wither is an ability that says this deals damage to creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters. So that's cool. But also it says whenever Stigma Lasher deals damage to a player, that player can't gain life for the rest of the game. That's really funny.
I don't know if this kind of effect exists anywhere else.
I don't even think I've seen the words for the rest of the game appear anywhere in Magic ever.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't searched for that phrase, but I don't think it does.
That's wild, yeah.
So like that's a fun. It's a 2/2 for 2. Like, this is a 3-color deck, but like in testing, it's like, oh, okay, turn 1, tap land, turn 2, mountain, Stigma Lasher. It's like, I hope someone has, if anyone doesn't have defense at that point, I'm coming in for 2 and you will never gain life this whole game.
It's back-breaking if you are any kind of deck that wants to gain life. I don't know, like, you know, I don't know. I used to have a Karlov deck that it just pure runs on life gain. You have to gain life. You have to have many instances of life gain. And someone, I think it was you, had the Tainted Remedy.
No. Tainted Remedy.
Tainted Remedy, which is if any of your opponents would gain life, they instead lose that life. And I was just like, I can't do anything anymore.
Yeah.
I can't do anything. So it's you really stop. You can really stop decks in their tracks.
Right.
With this. Yeah.
And it's like an emblem. Like you deal with the Stigma Lasher. That's fine. If you've already got the tag, then it doesn't help. Like, that's forever.
That's forever. That's crazy. Yeah.
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 I got one more here in the list here. This is a new one to me. Somnophore. 2 blue for an illusion. It's a 2/2 with flying. Whenever Somnophore deals damage to a player, doesn't say combat damage, tap target creature that player controls. That creature doesn't untap during its control's untap step as long as Somnophore remains on the battlefield. So, give you a heads up. It's great to get hexproof on this through a Boots or a Greaves. I guess with Greaves you can't equip it anymore, but like you equip it first, put some Greaves on there, and now what you're tapping to just ping players and tap their creatures permanently until they board wipe. But guess what's that? If you board wipe, the creature you have tapped is also gone. So
Somnophore, very cool little creature here.
Yeah.
Never seen this one.
Neat. So yeah, there's just a handful. There's numerous other creatures that just like draw you cards. That's the most common effect creatures have when they deal damage. But here's some of the more unique ones I felt I had to highlight.
Very cool.
But we also in the big picture, it would also benefit us if we can give our creatures haste, because like I said, combat damage is also allowed. Like that is also one way where this works. So there's going to be occasions where we're going to want to cast a creature because we have an opening and attack and get this benefit right away. So Andy, what's our plan for that?
Well, we're going to enable some haste here. Get them in. On an unsuspecting board, you play something like Expedite for a single red. It's an instant. Target creature gains haste until end turn and draw a card. Replaces itself. Perfectly fine ability to have. Give your whatever it is you just played haste to get in and get a little damage going. Garna the Blood Flame, 3 black red, 3/3 legendary human warrior with flash. When Garna the Blood Flame enters the battlefield, return to your hand all creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from anywhere this turn. So that's just a nice ability to have if somebody board wipes or whatever. And then other creatures you control have haste. Bam. You can get them all back and give them all haste.
Yeah, like Garna's great on a few axes, but like in this having Garna down, and let's just keep in the horizon. Like as we're developing our board, we're playing more lands, a couple of mana rocks here or there. Once we get close to 8 mana, Nicol Bolas is gonna show up. So like if you're able to like grant haste to Nicol Bolas and just be like, I've got an opening there. Okay, great. You're gonna lose your whole hand because Nicol Bolas is gonna haste in there.
Mean.
It's mean. It's very mean. It's very mean.
Mean.
The thing I don't mind how mean that effect is in this case, because Nicol Bolas does not come down early. Nicol Bolas shows up later in the game, and at that point, surely there is beef with a player where like, okay, this is a player whose hand needs to disappear. This is not just being mean. Like we've decided
True.
You need to lose your hand right now. So
yeah. You've done things that will justify this.
yeah. This is we're not striking first with Nicol Bolas, especially if we're trying to grant haste.
Right on.
Thanks to the Discord for pointing this out. This is a very neat move in here. So Andy, why don't you read this card?
Harobi Death's Whale.
I thought it was Wall too.
Harobi Death's Whale is 2 black, legendary spirit, 4/4 flyer. Whenever a creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, destroy that creature. So that works really well with pingers.
You have to be careful you've already equipped, though. Because if you try to equip, you also destroy. But it also has the effect that your opponents also can't equip. I was trying a little test game, and the random opponent was I think a Tajic artifact Voltron deck, the indestructible Tajic. And I was like, buddy, you're going to lose this game.
The indestructible Tajic, though, wouldn't that get around it?
True. I guess what did I have to do it? I think I Somnophored it down, though. I had other ways to like keep that thing down.
That's how you would get around that. However, there's like a Enter the Illusion or something, that blue enchantment that does a similar thing.
Yeah.
but they have to sacrifice the creature if it gets.
Ooh, yeah, that's a bit stronger.
Yeah.
This one can attack though.
Yes, exactly. Cool. 4 mana 4/4. What do we have next here? What's this? Does this have to do with?
Yeah, this is all part of the same.
Oh, this
package.
is all part of the same thing. Okay, so we also have Endbringer, which is 5 and a colorless for the 5/5 Eldrazi. Untap Endbringer during each other player's untap step. So we can get these tap abilities every turn then. Tap Endbringer deals 1 damage to target creature or player. So bam, there you go, right there. Pay a colorless and tap it. Target creature can't attack or block this turn. Or pay 2 colorless, tap, draw a card. Strong abilities, like, you know, essentially adding another color to your mana here with like requiring the colorless mana to spend it. But who doesn't have a utility land kicking around by turn 6? Like, really, you're probably going to be able to find them. And then the most important ability kind of here is the pinging ability, and that's the one that doesn't cost anything. Yeah,
I didn't put it here, but like, so Endbringer doesn't do anything when it does combat damage, but it's great support. And we do have a few enchantments like the Ophidian Eye type of things, where when this creature deals damage, not necessarily combat damage, you get to draw a card. So Endbringer wearing an Ophidian Eye is like just draw a card per player every cycle.
Pretty sweet. Yeah.
Curiosity,
whatever.
But let's keep in mind Hirobi's Wail, right? So we've got Hirobi's Wail, we've got Endbringer, we can just machine gun down anything we want. Same kind of thing happens with Fury Stoke Giant. That's the 3 red giant warrior. It's 3/3. And when it comes into play, it turns all your creatures into pingers for 2. They all have tap, deal 2 damage to target creature or player. But Fury Stoke also has persist. So what you can do is, like, I've got into, there's a pretty big brain move, I think, against idiot AIs, but I still was pretty proud of it.
I'm feeling pretty smart.
I equipped my own Fury Stoke Giant with a random piece of equipment so that it would die from Hirobi's Wail, so that Fury Stoke Giant would come back, so that my whole board became pingers, and then I destroyed the enemy boards that I needed to with everything else that I had.
Oh, wow. Wow, so it had already been in play at that point.
I had to get it to die. I didn't have a sack outlet, so I used Hirobi's Wail to help it out. And then this card works also. Andy, let us know what this one is.
Yeah, Open into Wonder. X blue for a sorcery that says X target creatures can't be blocked this turn until end of turn. Those creatures gain. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card.
So again, it's combat damage, but we often have a large board, and like sometimes that's our win. We're like, oh, you know what? I've got enough power and toughness here. I'll just make them all unblockable, and I will kill you with them that way. And draw a bunch of extra cards. But again, with Hirobi's Wail, this can become a blue X, destroy X target creatures your opponents control. So it doesn't say you have to target your own creatures. So that's a pretty neat move there, if you wanted to.
Right. Okay. Yeah. This is being able to use. I'm just searching for that other card I was talking about that has it gives the illusion ability.
Oh, yeah.
I said I was wrong. Whatever I said there. I said like enter the illusion. That's not what it's called. Anyways, I can't remember what it's called. It's really bugging
illusion. Me. Yeah. Enter into dreams.
Ooh, yeah, something like that. Something into dreams. Dismiss into dreams. Dismiss into. Yes, dismiss into dreams. 6 and a blue. Each creature your opponents control is an illusion in addition to its other types, and has, when this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, sacrifice it. Yeah.
Yeah. That should go in here.
Yeah, right up there.
I don't have that in here, but that should go in here for sure.
Gets around the indestructible Tajic.
Yeah, like I don't have... This deck isn't all pingers.
Right.
Which would be like that's perfect for... Like Hirobi's Wail is sort of like bonus points. I didn't brew around being able to just ping. Mm-hmm. It's more about those extra effects and being able to do those with other things. And here's a card that just works great with this strategy. It's Warstorm Surge, 5 and a red for an enchantment. It's one of the best. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Notice the creature is the thing dealing the damage. So like if we cast a Hypnotic Spectre, we get to deal 2 damage to an opponent who also has to discard a card at random because it's Hypnotic Spectre that did the damage. I probably should have highlighted it, but like Chandra's Ignition is amazing in this deck, where we can make a creature do damage to everybody and everything. So it's like now everyone's losing cards, or we're drawing cards, or whatever the effect is. Like I'm going to tell you, if you can get a Nicol Bolas around and Chandra's Ignition him, that's a pretty neat move.
Chandra's Ignition, 3 red, sorcery, target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each other creature and each opponent.
Yeah.
It's pretty strong. Great.
So this is a fun brew. It was a challenging brew. There were definitely points where I felt we were being pulled in other directions. There's a couple of really neat green cards that help that don't care about combat damage specifically. But I just felt like we were at the point where we're like, do we trade black for green? Are we Teamer? Are we Grixis? I wanted to keep it Grixis for Nicol Bolas because it's 2 on theme. But also with the green, now we're like, yeah, I don't know. You could make the green version of this deck. That exists as well. Most of the cards we talked about were blue and red. So if you just swap the black cards for a few green ones, change some of your removal for some ramp, there you go.
Interesting. I just found out that one of the best things that lets you untap cards, Pemin's Aura, is like way more expensive than I thought. I thought this was like $1 or $2 card. I saw a thing recently that was like someone was selling it for $10 or something.
Wow, $15.
15. Yeah.
Too much.
I recently did a thing where I was just entering a bunch of the like rares I have into like an app, scanning the app, using the TCG player thing, and found a bunch of these cards are just, man, a bunch of cards have spiked and changed, and like Pioneers had an effect and all this type of stuff. So,
right.
But that's we'll talk about budget in a sec.
We got to thank the Discord. Gang, the Discord, wild brews every time. Thank you to, I think that I'm always fearful that I'm leaving one person out that I didn't go. The Discord channel, it zooms by. People will be like, I stepped away for 10 minutes and there's 150 new messages. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to catch them all. So thank you. Can't thank you enough. Pips Don't Lie, Chiefy, Papadio, Madisman, Dylan PH, T Ravenous, who said it was their first brew with us. Welcome to the brewery, T Ravenous. Seth, Beppo, Lol What, Clockwork 12, Dinesh, Gee Pizza, Loki Dragon, Jamon, Max Volume, Doomfrog. If I left you out, I'll get you next time, I promise. Or I'll at least try. I can't guarantee that, but I'll do my best. Let's do the budget report, shall we?
Let's do it. What does this one look like? What do we have here?
This one was tricky. So it's pretty cheap. The low was about $70. However, TCG Player has been acting strange lately. When I put this in, it wants to only pick the old original Nicol Bolas version, which is like $100 card.
Weird.
Probably for the legacy of it all. I'm not sure why, but I obviously don't want that version. I know that there's a Masters 25 version that's like $250.
Right.
So it's hard to, like, I can't exactly tell you the like TCG Player low and mid because those numbers are not accurate for what it is. However, I do know that you can do this deck for under $100. And even still, there's some cards that are pretty pricey that I think are definitely cuttable. I'm running Soul Scar Mage. That's the single red human wizard. It's a 1/2 with prowess. But the key here is that if a source you control would deal non-combat damage to a creature or an opponent controls, you put -1/-1 counters on it instead. So this turns all of those other things as ways to just even shrink creatures. So that's pretty good.
Basically gives them wither, essentially, right?
Yeah, basically, without saying it as much.
Yeah.
Andy, what's the other?
This is shocking to me. Card? This is shocking to me that this card is this expensive. 1,000-year elixir the 3-mana artifact that says you may activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste, and then you can pay 1 and tap it to untap target creature, is $13.
Yeah.
Get out of town. See, like, this is what happens when you... So I only remember this card from when I bought this card, from when I wanted this card for a deck. And I remember specifically getting it for Tristani, and it was like nothing. It was, I don't know, whatever. It was like $1, maybe. I don't remember exactly, but it wasn't anywhere near $13. I can tell you that. It's a powerful effect, though. You know, if you have any commander, we always say, like, if there's a card that only affects your commander and makes it better, it is worth including. This card is that for a ton of commanders. Anything that taps, anything that has an activated ability that taps, bam, you can do it. And untap it too. Powerful abilities, like I'm saying, and obviously in decks like this where we have multiple things tapping and untapping and wanting to be able to do that right away, you know, becomes very very wanted card. But it is bonus, right? It is kind of a bonus effect. We're in red, so giving haste to our creatures actually isn't even really that hard. Like we just, you know, we showed Garna up there. You give Fervor. There's a tons of ways where this card really shines, and where you might even be willing to pay $13 for it is in decks that can't give haste easily, right? Like,
yeah,
I
think you summed it up perfectly.
My version is green white. I can't give it haste very easily, so this was at the time a cheap option, not anymore.
It's the perfect summary, and I think that's the perfect reason why you could cut this. The most exciting ability, like I said, I'll remind you, we're not all pingers. So, yeah. Like, you know, like Hypnotic Spectre doesn't tap.
You want, like you'd rather just give it haste, you know?
Right. And so the most, like this card shines in the deck when we have things equipped and we have ways to ping, and we would just want to untap pingers. But there's way better and cheaper cards that help us untap things. Right. So swap it out for there. Save yourself $13.
Throw in Perfor's Hammer. Staff. There you go. It's like $1.
Sure. Or for the untapping, that Manifold Key, like something like that. Was that a gumball? Like, Thornbite Staff, $12. It's because of the combos that it enables. It automatically untaps your creatures. It's in that family of Pemin's Aura, right? It's cheap untaps. We want to abuse those. We in this deck don't need to abuse them that much. This is a tough cut though, because giving creatures the ability to ping is sort of the theme, so it's a tough one to cut. But you could. So we've already shaved off like $20 here.
Yeah.
It is not in the deck, but similarly, Goblin Sharpshooter. Like does this break the budget? This is a $12 card. It's 2 in a red for a Goblin 1/1. It does not untap, but it does whenever a creature dies. You untap it. In that case, tap 1 damage to target creature or player. Strong card, no doubt. Is it worth $12? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, it's a good ability, like you said, but
again, this deck has a fair bit of redundancy. So if we're not running Goblin Sharpshooter, but I think you can get this deck low for close to $50.
Yeah, I think it looks very possible to me.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. Well, there's your budget report.
Budget report, and if I'm not mistaken, it's time for everyone's favorite award show. Let's get our tuxedos on and our martinis poured, and let's head on over to the Odric Awards.
Yes. Wonderful.
Great to be here, Andy. You look great in your tuxedo.
Thank you. I thought I'd wear my hat with it and really, buck the current fashion trends. But you gotta
be you. Look at everyone. Look at everyone who's showed up here today. Noxious Gear Hulk, welcome. Good to see you.
Yeah, Palladium Mons.
Mors.
Palladium Mors is here. Isn't that Nicol Bolas' sister? Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Great to see you. Great to see
nice.
You. It's a star-studded night.
That's a nice hat you have on, Palladium Mors.
Yes.
Very big.
Yes.
I feel bad for the person behind you trying to see.
And Andy Samberg. Great to see you.
Oh,
as
Andy
well.
Samberg's here. You know what? Hey, Andy Samberg, That's My Boy is an underrated movie.
Ah,
I'm just gonna say it.
I mean, snubbed for an Odric when it came out.
Yeah, it didn't get an Odric, oddly enough. Yeah. Listen, super weird ending to that movie, but I'll let you guys talk about that.
Okay.
Here we are at the Odrics. What a lovely time. Just one award to give out this
Yes.
this time, and Sean, I'll let you do it.
Okay, the award for most interesting counters in the deck goes to Night Dealings.
Oh, wow.
Night Dealings. Congratulations, Night Dealings. 2 black for enchantment. Whenever a source you control deals damage to another player, put that many theft counters on Night Dealings. Theft counters.
Theft counters.
And then you can pay 2 black to remove X theft counters from Night Dealings, and then tutor up a card that costs X converted mana cost or less.
You know what this card award gets from me?
A double award?
It does get another award. It gets the this card looks like something I definitely want, but I almost always cut it from from when I'm making decks. It gets that award. I remember finding this in an old show and putting it in a couple of decks after that, and then like eventually just getting to the point where like, I kind of just want to tutor the one card, so I don't need to keep doing this. So sorry, see you later, Night Dealings. But it is a good card. You want that repeatable. If you got to find a couple of things, it does the trick.
And thinking about it just a bit more open, a bit more generally. Yeah, no, I can't justify it. It's tough. I was gonna say if you keep tutoring cheap stuff like over and over, it's like, well, that could be pretty useful. But like you're still paying 5 to get a 1-drop.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, there are decks. The thing is that there's decks that use it more efficiently and better than others. That's all. Hey, Night Dealing, sorry to talk about you like you're not standing right beside us accepting this award.
Congratulations on the award, Night.
Congratulations on the award again, and everyone have a great night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone, from the Odrics here at the Sarah Angel Theater in Innistrad City.
Downtown Innistrad.
Yeah. And that's it. That does it. There's the deck for this week.
Thank you, everybody. That was a fun one. Non-combat damage.
I love it. I love seeing it. And I hope that they keep making a weird little one here and there, like they did with the Temps. This is interesting to leave out that combat in that sense. Great. Well, Thanks everyone for watching. That was the deck this week. We'll be back next week with another one. Remember to check out wizardtower.com if you're in Canada. Use our coupon code BrewDouble and get a little slice off of your singles orders there. If you're outside of Canada, TCG Player is the place to be. Follow our affiliate link, which is in our show notes of the audio show and in the notes below the video on YouTube. And you can any purchases you make after following that link, whether it's from this deck or from anywhere else on the site, they will help the show directly. Like we'll get a slice of any of those purchases. It's a easy way if you're buying cards anyways to help us if you like us. Hey, that'd be great. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you love what we're doing, consider supporting the show by going to patreon.com/commandersbrew.
And if you want to get any of the cards from our deck list, go to our TCG Player affiliate link below.
That helps us out too. And for a free way to help us out, consider sharing the show with some friends. Like and subscribe, add a comment or two.
See you later.
Bye.